I don't know if you call it a misconception, but one of the things that um, really kind of hits me is that there's such a narrow focus when people think about sharks. When they talk about sharks, they kind of tend to focus on maybe 5, 10 species of kind of medium size sharks. And the other thing is we kind of hear this, you quite often hear people saying sharks are this, sharks are that. Actually, we're talking about a group, including the skates and rays, of about 1,250 animals. And there is almost nothing that you can say sharks are this, where you can't find an exception to that rule. So I think we don't do enough celebrating the diversity of the species.
I think that due to the sensationalism of sharks, through different media outlets, starting way back with Jaws, we tend to think of sharks as these roaming eating machines that are just out there hunting prey, and that all sharks are apex predators. And to kind of tag on to what Paul has said, the largest fish in the sea is a whale shark that eats the tiniest food, plankton. And so when we get drawn into this sensationalism, which is really cool and really fun to see an apex predator hunting, no doubt about that. As humans, we like to see that kind of thing. But we also love to see these gentle giants like basking sharks and whale sharks that are floating through the ocean, so peaceful and just eating plankton. And so again, it's about diversity and making connections for people that these fish are also sharks and they are super cool. So, not all sharks are out there hunting 24/7. As a matter of fact, most of them aren't. But sharks got to eat, right? And the ocean is their home. And so we as human beings need to respect that, just as we would if we were going into the wilderness in Yellowstone, and make sure that we're prepared and we understand what could happen when we enter the ocean.
Paul, I want to come back to you and get maybe your favorite, like all-time favorite shark fact, just to have a little bit of fun before we start getting into the nitty-gritty today.
So from a whole world of shark facts, you want me to choose one? Okay, so we'll all have seen sawfish. They're a flat shark with a very long nose, with these teeth around down the outside of the nose, as the rostrum we call it. And you think, how does that shark get born? How does that nose, how does that rostrum make its way out of the mother? They are born with a little protective sheath on their rostrum, which they then shed after a couple of days, so that it protects them as they're in the womb and when they're born. I like that one.
I think one of the things that is really important is that we are discovering new shark species all the time. Over 25% of the species that we know about have only been discovered in the last 20 years. So how cool is that we're learning so much more about these different animals in the ocean? We know more about space than we do about the ocean. And so that I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. I will say, in researching this episode, I did learn a lot of interesting facts about shark reproduction. A lot of the materials actually came from the SAFE website and whatnot. But I learned that egg sacs for sharks are maybe, and I'm probably using the wrong terminology here, for those that don't give live birth, are called, or they're not, wait, no, now I'm forgetting what they're called, but they look like purses. Mermaid's purse is what, yeah, look at that. Paul's got one right there. So that was one of the fun facts that I learned. Another fun fact that maybe this isn't a fun fact and you guys can debunk this right here on the show, but I heard that sharks actually predate trees in terms of like being on this planet. Is that true?
Yeah. And they also predate the Himalayas. So the evolutionary history of sharks goes back somewhere, I mean, this is a big margin of error, somewhere between 400 and 450 million years in one form or another. So yeah, they've got a pretty long life history, and they've made their way through a number of major extinction events. From the Cambrian explosion, there's a whole bunch of weird sharks that kind of appeared and then disappeared again. So yeah, in one form or another, sharks have been around for 400 million odd years.